Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Digital Classroom. And today it's all about the eyes. The eyes are well, you know what I mean, right? The eyes. So let's go. Okay, one of the questions I get a lot from people is, Frank, what do I do if the eyes are a little bit too dark and I want to brighten them up? Well, actually you can do a few things wrong. You can go to 100%, take your dots tool and just go crazy over the eye white and over the iris and make something like this with, well, it looks like it came out of a horror movie. So don't do something like this. Now, what I normally do is I will go into Quick Mask. And I'll just create a mask very quickly over the iris of the eye, because that's the part that you want to retouch. So I'm going to make a mask very quickly. And there we go. Now, let's refine that mask just a little bit. I'm not doing this with a tablet, but with the mouse at the moment. So I'm a little bit more sloppy. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's say that this is our mask. And what you can now, of course, do is, again, take that dots tool and just go over it. But now you will have a very harsh side. So with that mask, I always do a little bit of a feathering. So do a feathering of, let's say, well, 4 pixels. That's more than enough. Okay, now I just used the dots tool. And as you can see, you can brighten up the eyes. You do a deselect and there you go. But to be totally honest, you can do way more. For example, now we use the dots tool, but you can do the same thing with, for example, curves. So let's make a background copy so you can see what we're doing. So adjustments, curves, and of course also that way you can brighten up the eyes. And now you have a little bit more control because you can also make it a little bit more contrasty, as you can see here. And that of course makes a huge difference, because now you can also see in the iris, you can see a little bit more detail, which of course you can enhance, for example, by sharpening. So go to Smart Sharpen. And in all honesty, you can literally just put the radius a little bit higher. Make sure that you don't see any, like you see here, like a little bit of noise. And just pull it down. And there you go, preview before and after. Now, in all honesty, the sharpening I hardly do on the eyes, but hey, you can do it, so why not? So that's one way. Now, the other way, of course, is make that selection again. Okay, so let's reselect. And of course, you can also change the colors of the eyes if you want it a little bit differently. Just go to Image, Adjustments, and go to Hue and Saturation. And now you can change the hue to change the color of the eyes. So make it a little bit more blue, for example. With saturation, you can change that. Don't overdo it because it's a dead giveaway. And of course, you can lower or raise the lightness. Let's say I don't want to do this. I want to do it the old-fashioned way with a brush. No problem. You take a brush, change the brush into color mode, and give her blue eyes. So she already has blue eyes, but let's enhance that a little bit. Now, of course, this is way too much, and that's why I always tell people, do this on a separate layer. So let's do this on a separate layer. Now do the same thing, so we're in color mode. Just go over the eyes in color mode with blue. And now what you do is you just lower the opacity to 0, and you very slowly just add it until you see what you like. There you go. It's in the details, guys. It's just a little bit, but it just gives you a little bit different look in the eyes. Now you might wonder, does this work on all images? Well, it does. So let's go to another image. Like for example here, we used a lot of backlighting. So let's go to 100%. And we're going to do the same thing. Now as you can see, we can now see 2 eyes. Now do realize that this eye is lighter than this eye. And that's because the light of course is hitting it from this side. This is our accent light, it's a little bit brighter. So when you do your retouching, make sure that this eye keeps getting a little bit more light than that eye. Okay, so let's do the same thing. So we're gonna do Quick Mask. I'm gonna make the brush a little bit smaller. And go here. And of course you can also press the X key if you want to change between foreground and background color. But in videos I always like to show you guys what I do. Of course I know the shortcuts, but for video it's often easier to do it like that. Okay, I'm working with the mouse today. So normally I'm using a tablet of course, but I'm at home today, so with the mouse. So it's a little bit more sloppy than normally. Okay, let's just make a backdrop layer, a background copy, sorry. Okay, let's do the same thing again. So use first the dots tool, don't overdo it. There you go. And now of course you can see the difference already. It just pops a little bit more. Let's say we don't want to do this. I'm gonna do the same trick again. And this is actually what I prefer, because with the dots tool, especially when you use something like pressure sensitivity and you use two eyes, it can be that you press a little bit harder on the left eye than on the right eye. It isn't a constant, if you know what I mean. So let's do curves, and this is without a doubt my favorite way of doing it. Let's add a little bit on the top, and let's add a little bit more contrast to the eyes. And you can see that the eyes now really come alive. Don't overdo this. If you overdo this, it will look incredibly bad. Let me just overdo it just for fun. Select, deselect. Now when you look at this, the eyes are just very, very bright compared to the original one. So just tone the effect down, start at 0, and then just build it up. And there we go. Now it's very, very natural. It looks just a little bit more contrasty. And the eyes are already bright, so why would I make them even brighter? So the only thing I now actually did, and I hope you can see it here in the top, is add a little bit of contrast. And it just makes the eyes come alive a lot more. But it's the same technique, so I didn't use any other technique. I just adjusted it for every image. Okay guys, I hope this helped you out if you have to do something with eyes of a model. If you have any questions, leave comments below, and of course smash that like button if you like this and share the video with other people. Thank you so very much for watching guys. See you again next time. Bye bye.